Hey guys, Average Joe back again. Gonna take you guys through kind of a Cooking with Nitro Cribs episode with my pit bag and all the stuff that I bring with me when I go to the track. Whether it be indoor for carpet or whether it be outdoor for dirt, I bring a lot of the same stuff with me with a few minor differences. So let's take a second and go through all my gear here. First, let's get started with the actual pit bag itself. You'll see here I've got one of these limited edition Proline pit bags. They only made about 50 of these things, so I know you guys saw my ProTech review, but I still have a bit of a problem getting rid of this thing. I love this bag. It's a 10th scale size bag, so it's perfect for bringing stuff indoor for the winter time. But also, being that I only run one class the majority of my time, this thing actually suits me perfect. If I'm only running one class, I don't need much bigger, but as you're going to see from this bag, even though it's only a 10 scale bag, this thing still holds a lot of stuff. Because being a Cribs episode, I'll tell you that I actually do have a roommate in here, and you'll see. So first, let's go ahead and get the truck off the top here. Let's go ahead and look at, maybe first, one of the most important things that I have in my pit bag, which is the Huddy tools. For my money, guys, these are the best tools that you're going to get. Big collection of Huddy tools. I love Huddy's quality with their steel, and looking at the tips, God, these things are amazing. Going back to the pit bag again here, got on the outside here, I've got all my manuals for all the kits, also got some Average Joe stickers. Got the manuals for all the kits that my team brings to the track. Not only do I have to worry about support for myself, but being the manager and the head of a team, I also bring everything that my team may need. So we're all running a lot of Durango kits, so we make sure I have all the Durango manuals on hand at all times. Switching around to the other side here, I did mention in the last video that I always make sure I keep precision tools with me. Dental picks, calipers, small tiny screwdrivers, stuff like that. This right here, this caliper, is probably one of the most underrated tools in your pit box, either for on-road or off-road. Should always have one of those in your pit box. As well as over here, got my car stand for when things get hectic in the pit. It's so much easier to work on. And because most tracks absolutely require it, LiPo charging sack, very important to have. Spinning the bag back around here, let's go ahead and open up the front pocket. Roll this guy up. Now we get into the drawers. I guess the meat and potatoes of the pit bag. So taking a look here in the top drawer, like I did mention, I do have a bit of a roommate when it comes to this bag. I got one of my team racers, Steve Taylor, his gear is in here as well. So first we start with our radios. Bang, DX3R Pros. Then we got Steve's DEX Durango 210 in the top drawer. We got the fin off because this thing just got busted up pretty bad at the last race. Very important always, parts trays. Spare motors, spare ESCs, spare parts. All sectioned, all so I can see very easily. It's hard to see on the camera, but I've got them all labeled. That way if I start using things while I'm out at the track, I know what I have to replace later. Got all our max amp cells, stick packs, got the racers pack in here, lots of extra tires. Running on the indoor, the carpet tends to wear them out, but that's great because once these tires get down to about 25%, that's the best time to use them. Into our second drawer here. More tires, guys. More tires. Always tires when you're racing off-road. And look, we got here another car. We got Steve's Durango DEX 410. All Average Joe'd out. This thing's a monster on the track. Extra motor just in case. More extra tires. Being that we go with this pit station with one charger, use a quad charger, we use these great big humongous charge leads. That way we use one charger for the whole table, and we can get at least two guys charging off one charger to save on pit space. Into the bottom drawers here, we got my drawer. So got the Hi-Tech X4 multi-charger. This thing is amazing for saving pit space when you've got multiple guys charging. This is the one that requires the power supply, so I have the power supply in the drawer as well, but you can also get the new one that doesn't require a power supply. It has a built-in power supply, which is great because it just frees up that much more room. One more completely underestimated pit tool in your bag, Scotch-Brite. This stuff works better than sandpaper and has way more application. This is a great thing to have in here. You can usually pick it up at a dollar store, guys. Go grab a whole stack of it and have it in your pit bag. Additional things in here, just more tools, scissors, additional Huddy tools, always important. Extra batteries for your radio. And when you're running electric, you always have one of these cell checkers just to make sure you don't have to balance. And then one more tool that no one ever thinks about getting. These shock pliers are amazing. With the Durango shocks, it's always good to take the bottom eye off when you're bleeding the shocks out and setting them up for rebound. And these things here keep you from making any big marks or scores on your shocks. Average about 21 bucks is what you get them, these STRC pliers. These things are, they've definitely paid for themselves by not destroying my shock shafts. Pretty generic power supply. Just additional odds and ends in the bottom. We all run Tekin, so we make sure we bring the Tekin hot wire wherever we go. We also bring a little netbook with us so that we have all the up-to-date programming and any changes that we have to make. And then, of course, whether you're running nitro or electric, always have a temp gun with you. Very, very important. So going into this one here, this is like Steve's room right here. All Steve's tools for all his kits. He manages to keep his trays a little bit smaller, keep some spare parts in there, vice grips, all the other tools that I don't normally bring with us. Squirrel talks a lot on his channels about how you can actually get things that are not RC based or out of the hobby to do just the right trick when it comes to spots for your cars or parts for your cars. This one here is what Steve picked up from a local guitar shop. I think it was $5 for a guitarist foot pedal. And this thing works amazing as a pit stand. For all his little buggies. Boom, you set that up, he puts his buggy on top, he can throw this thing around the room if he wants. It's actually stronger than a pit stand and only about a quarter of the cost. So one more thing maybe you want to look at, a guitar shop for a good car stand. This thing's also perfect for 8 scale, it's so strong. So you saw at the beginning of the video I had a couple other things in the frame there. Told you that that was my truck. One thing I don't leave home without are my dialed bags. These things are phenomenal. I first picked these things up last year, and they've been a savior as far as keeping me out of trouble with my wife. I mean, first you've got this dialed truck bag. You can fit your short course truck in perfect. For the indoor it's not so bad, but when you're running outdoor, if it's a muddy day, your stuff gets trashed, you can throw it in here. It fits a short course truck perfect, and the inside of this thing, if it gets dirty, all you have to do is set it in the sun for a day and then whisk it out with a paintbrush, basically. And then it'll fit any short course truck perfect, but they also make these bags for buggies and truggies. And then all you do is you zip them up, grab the handle. I hang mine on the wall, and it keeps my truck out of the way. And I can Velcro it or bungee cord it to the top of my pit bag. Second dialed thing I have here is the fluid bag. This thing is amazing if you've got a lot of fluids. Now, again, being that we support an entire team at Average Joe's, we got to make sure that we have everything for everyone. So in all of these tubes are different shock weights, different shock oils, diff oils, Sin Lube, you know, anything you want in here. We've got black grease, we've got glue, everything fits in these. And then I don't feel bad about anything leaking out because it's inside these plastic tubes, and these things are sealed. You know, they're sealed in there. Let me just put that back in. So that if anything spills out, you're not going to worry about it getting all messed up inside your pit bag. If anything does come out of here, again, this stuff's the same inside. You just wipe it out. And you saw a lot of my tires that I had for my indoor stuff. You know, Proline Suburbs, I've got Schumacher mini pins, I've got some AKA wishbones in here. But when I'm running the outdoor, I bring a whole separate bag. Again, another dialed product. This is the tire bag. If you leave your tires out in the open air long enough, they will start to dry out and lose their kind of lose their effectiveness. So these dialed containers here, these ones are big enough to fit buggy and short course tires. The tops seal, and they keep all the tires good inside. So this one here, they're all labeled. I like to take it out. I've got my bow fighters, I've got my snipers and my calibers, and then when I'm running my two-wheel drive, I also have my 3 sets of tires for my SC10 2-wheel drive. So this thing's super easy to bring with me, all labeled, boom, pop the top, pull the tire. So a couple more things that we're going to get into. One thing that I would normally bring with me to the pit, but it's not in my bag right now because it's so packed, and then something that we're actually going to start bringing with us. So the first is the Hakko soldering station. This thing here, you know, 8 months ago, my soldering was probably about as good as my rocket science. I'm absolutely terrible at rocket science. So I did a bad thing a couple times. I may have melted a couple posts off the boards on my ESCs, but this thing here I haven't had any problems with, and my soldering's become so much better with this machine. And now that I've had it, I will never go back. I'll only buy a good grade soldering station. Next one here is primarily used for on-road, but a couple of my friends who race on-road started to tell me, he's like, you're missing out on the precision setup stuff that you can get from a good setup board and tweak board. So he brought them by to me to check out, and I can tell you that even with my best day that I'm trying to set up one of my kits, it doesn't get anywhere close to being correct or being level. I started using these kits, and I can't believe how off our off-road kits really are, and I don't even know how they sit on the ground without flipping over automatically. You know, using a tweak board to make sure that your suspension is all set up evenly, or using the setup station to make sure your caster and your camber is all correct. You know, and a nice level station in order to do it is, you know, first and foremost more important, because if you don't have a level station to work on, everything you do off that is shot. So you're going to see some videos on this stuff soon as I guess teach myself how to use it. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but once you get it figured out, you know, your car just sits so much better. So it's a very, very important piece, or is becoming a very, very important piece of the Average Joe's Race Division pit crew and pit bag. So, you know, you're going to see some videos on this coming soon. So guys, now that I made an absolute mess of my pit bag in my entire work area, leave some comments below and on the Cookie with Nitro Facebook page on what you have in your pit bag. And thanks for listening, guys, and hope to see you soon.